Nice. Trying to go
Black foils look pretty much perfect for our pole position, optimum angle to Mark 1, and they've got the Rolex pole predictor on the top of their wing there. Red Bull Italy coming in fast at the bottom of the line, looking at the timing now. Brilliant swing towards the line by Red Bull Italy and Explorer Swiss, but can the black foils drive out of the middle of the pack and roll over the top? It should be faster angle for the Swiss to Mark 1. Oh, the Swiss have got some heel though, Todd. They got a little bit loose.
I think we're good.
Oh, I mean, they're absolutely hammering.
Look at the contrails coming off those F50s as they approach mark number 1, and the Swiss get around there. It is Sebastian Snyder, the 3-time Olympian, getting it done. On the inside, you have got Pete Burley in the black foils, and look at that speed, almost 95 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and the black foils held the inside, so they'll push to the edge of the boundary and maneuver away. Swiss now have the right of way. They are entitled to maneuver, but it's a scrappy maneuver on board both those teams. Oh, ROCKWOOL Denmark put it in the water. Big leap out of the water on board the Danish boat. Oh, they've got it back under control. They've had the least practice time, of course, out there today. Los Gallos at the back of the pack. There we go. We said this was the easy group for the Spanish. Doesn't look it right now.
Butler, Brazil also in the mix. So right now you got New Zealand, Switzerland, Italy, France, Spain, Brazil, and Denmark out on the water. This is Group A, Day 1 of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sassnitz Grand Prix.
There we go. Black foils look for that right turn at the bottom. I think it's going to be marginal to make that. I think they're pushing it early as well. When it's gusty and shifty, it's really hard to judge exactly what the angle you're going to have when you approach these gates is. But anyway, I will stop questioning Mr. Burling as he looks like he's got it right.
As they come up on gate number 2, the DP World Gate, this is scheduled for 6 legs, and they spin it around, and there are the black foils out in front. Red Bull Italy decide to break away. They will try for the other side of the course. Explorer Swiss and DS Team France will follow the black foils as we check in down on the water with Lisa. Starting to see more white caps, Lisa. Is the sea stake becoming an issue?
Yeah, the wind has been pulsing in and out, and the waves are sort of chopping up a little bit, but they're definitely where the F50s are now. That's the waviest part of the race course. The other thing to keep in mind is as the wind is moving around, even in a straight line, it's hard to keep things under control. But I tell you what, I saw that Danish nosedive, and how they saved that, I don't know.
Yeah, they are working against it, Stevie. As you saw, a little late to the party because they had repairs. Let's take you on board and see what it's like for the Danish.
Yeah, well, you can see we're on board the Swiss boat at the moment right now, and you just, as you go to drop the board, so when you go from 3 boards in the water to putting the 4th one down, if you don't have a stable platform or your speed, look in the background at the Italian boat there, they've got to give way. You can see how high they get. Here we are, on board Denmark. There goes the board drop, and instead of getting lift off that board as they'd hope, it just pulled down a little bit. So either the board wasn't quite right, or the wing trim wasn't quite right, or the steering wasn't quite right, but it's all changing so much. Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute roller coaster on these boats out there, and roller coaster wind shift wise as well. As we come back, look at that, nearly sailing straight up the course, and we were talking about how your progress is straight towards the next gate. That's pretty much perfect, Hannah.
Yeah, I think for those boats that took the right turn, they'll be pretty happy. Just one manoeuvre so far, really nice angle all the way up the course, but like we know, the top of this course can be really unpredictable, so what they do next is going to be really important.
So as we watch the black foils continue to progress up there, they've got about a 150-meter lead over Explorer Swiss and DS Team France, a team that loves high-speed winds. There you see the pressure arrows coming across. That's the direction of the wind. And, of course, the brighter the arrow, the darker red, the more pressure and more speed you're seeing. And no problem for Peter Burling and the black foils. They just spin around like it's a Sunday walk in the park, Stevie.
Yeah, and what's interesting for me is they've, since their disastrous start to the season, no other way to put it, since they've come back, that they've not looked quite as good as we're perhaps used to, and fairly understandable, I'd say. Here we go. Spain are not entitled to go in there. To me, the French own that mark rule-wise. We might see a lead change have to happen there if the French protest that.
This is the umpires. Penalty Spain, not entitled to mark room, go behind France.
The French boat there entered the zone for the mark, indicated by the blue circle, just before the Spanish got on the inside of them. It's really hard to judge. Remember this, we don't take a massive tin of paint and paint these lines and circles on the water out there. So the sailors have to judge it. We get to see it in real time. So it seems obvious to us, but to them, Hannah, I mean, it's happening so fast.
Really quickly, and France managed to fall off the foils in that manoeuvre, so really hard penalty for Spain there.
See here, we're on board France. They manoeuvre, and because the Spanish are not quite tucked inside when they enter the zone, they're not entitled to dive in there. Had that happened about 10 metres further back, Spain would have been inside. They'd have had the right of way.
Playing devil's advocate, Stevie, if I'm watching at home, where would Spain go? I mean, what other option did they have there?
They had to see it earlier and come up and not go in there. You have to. Sometimes you have to anticipate.
So at the other end of the course, it is still the black foils of New Zealand out in front. Their speed's slowing down just a little bit as they get through the DP World Gate. It looks like Explorer Swiss will play the same game and follow them right now with a 14-second lead. It's the Kiwis out in front, the Swiss sit in second, and then you have Italy, France, and Denmark.
Hannah, of the Swiss, I mean, they're on fire, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they've really stepped it up. I think their consistency across the board has been really so much better than we've seen in the past. They're really proving themselves to be a team to beat now.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't, in the windy stuff, I've never seen it before. So really encouraging for that Swiss team out there at the moment. To get back to the point with the Kiwis, they've obviously not had any real practice because there's not any practice anyway in SailGP, and then they've missed most of the season. But just starting to watch some of their manoeuvres, they were always the best team attacking the boat when they were sort of season winners. They never won the actual final race, but they won the overall season. Their manoeuvring was phenomenal. It's loose on board ROCKWOOL. And Spain at the back of the fleet.
Spain in 6th place right now.
So it's so hard to overtake now because the wind's rotated a long way round to the left. You can see those teams there like New Zealand nearly sailing straight up the course. Tactically, the only real choice is to do what Brazil's doing and Italy have done, is to come to this side of the course and then sail all the way up the course with only doing one manoeuvre. So really tricky to overtake for those boats in the back of the pack. And as Hannah said, because France actually fell off the foil, that penalty to Spain where they have to get behind France has cost them a lot of distance.
This is like 5 of 6. It is still the Kiwis out in front. Switzerland sits in second. Let's check in down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, as we look at Explorer Swiss sitting in second, as Stevie pointed out, they've had a great run as of late. Do you think this is they are just getting used to the boat and their team, or are the Swiss better accustomed to this group racing?
I think this group racing is really suiting the Swiss. I think they used to get tangled up in a little bit of mayhem at the bottom gates, but I think having a bit more clear air, they can just focus on themselves. You know, we saw sparks of magic from that team last season, but they seem to be putting it all together. Talking about shifts, though, we just saw some, so the Black Foils and the Swiss having to do a double tack here to get around this next gate.
All right, so the drama continues on. I don't think they're going to be able to catch them. Just too much room built up on the early part of this race as Peter Burling and the Black Foils of New Zealand look to be in rare form, bringing it home now in race number 1 for Group A, and the victory in Sassnitz on day number 1 will go the way of the Black Foils as they will take first place for Group A on their first of 3 racing. That is the Emirates winning moment.
Yeah, and they look pretty good then. They look fast and they were manoeuvring well.
Just keep boiling.
Yeah, pretty good effort there. But the Swiss really good, and Red Bull Italy as well. They've taken advantage of the Spanish and the French getting tangled up, and the Italians up to third. Italy have had, for me, a pretty underwhelming season. Sort of would expect. You got Carl Langford, 3-time champion wing trimming on board that boat. You know what I mean? Phil Robertson's put in some big results, and it's not quite clear. Jimmy Spittle's the boss. I mean, you're going to think someone's going to crack the whip, it's going to be him. But this is more of what I'd expect from them, to be really challenging. So let's see if they can put a whole weekend together.
So that's the back of the pack now, the 4 coming in there. Remember, there's 7 boats in this group, 13 in all, so we split it 6 and 7. This is Group A. 3rd place will go to Red Bull Italy. Looks like DS Team France, they will come in and finish on 4th, and now the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yeah, tactical advantage with ROCKWOOL Denmark there. Spanish are going to need something special. They got a real problem with Butler Brazil, so Spain are going to be way out the back of the pack here. Potentially, the team that won the last 2 events are going to finish in last place in this first race. That would be no points for them. And I know it's group racing. I know there's a lot more races to go, but you can't be affording to score 0 points too often.
Stevie, we always said even when you're racing all the teams together, you can have 1 bad race, you can't have 2. Is this Spain's 1 bad race? Obviously can't afford a second one on 2 more races today.
I don't think they can afford another 0 points. I mean, you know, there's a good forecast for the weekend. We look well set to get all the races in, touch wood, and I think, you know, they'd expect to chip away. But yeah, you know, you can't, especially when you got the Black Foils winning the race, team you'd think are going to do well. You got Switzerland that made the final the last time out in Great Britain. Well, you know, they know how to deliver a weekend. So suddenly, if you're giving that kind of advantage to a team like the Black Foils, like Explorer Swiss, you know, you've got some catching up to do.
Black foils in New Zealand are in the box. They have the controlling position right now, but watch France. Bottom of your screen, Quentin Delapierre not afraid to send it.
Yeah, I like where the Spanish are right now, actually, Todd. I think they've got the most control in this situation at the moment. Black foils have got to go a bit slow. It's going to be ROCKWOOL, Black foils and Spain that wind it up. Rolex Pole Predictor sits on board the French from there, but can they execute? Here go the Black foils. They turn towards the line, but they're going to be slower. It's going to be DS Automobile France. We said the pressure was on. Well, there you go. A dip of the hat to Mr. Delapierre. He's absolutely nailed that, and do not expect this French team to put their foot off the pedal all the way to Mark 1.
Before they even reach mark number 1, it is 94 kilometers an hour. And here comes Quentin Delapierre, full gas as he sends it at mark number 1 with the lead here in race number 2.
Again, good control. They're Spanish up in the pack as well. That's good for them. Rolex sprint leader for the French. Italy in a nice position on the inside. They'll have a little bit of control. As the teams enter the boundary, those boats in there are now allowed to move or out. So, New Zealand, the Black foils should manoeuvre soon. Don't get a boundary penalty here. Oh, look how close they'll push it to the edge. They're great manoeuvre by the French. They did get a boundary penalty on board the Kiwis. They went too wide. It looked like they pushed it. They're going to have to lose 20 metres here. And we know early on in the race, 20 metres absolutely crucial.
Kenny, how do you like the position of Phil Robertson and Red Bull Italy?
Well, I think they manoeuvred early, obviously, but I think they need some more pressure that side or a good wind shift to help them get down to the fleet. I think they'll be happy to sail in a little bit more space. But for me, out of that manoeuvre, it was DS Team France. They really executed well, and they've just stretched out a little bit in front of Spain, which will make this roundup much easier.
At Gate 2, the DP World Gate, it is DS Team France. Quentin Delapierre out in front. Here comes Los Gallos, Spain, and it looks like the other half of the fleet's opting for the other side, led by the Black foils in New Zealand, ROCKWOOL Denmark, and Red Bull Italy.
Well, what a rounding. I think it'd be great to actually get down in the water with Lisa at the moment if we can, because we saw on the last race it was good to go towards the right, but the race before it was good to go towards the left. Lisa, which way's the dice rolling this time?
Oh, it's so hard to call, Stevie. I actually don't mind where the French are at the moment. I think that the time they rounded that was the right call. So I think they're going to come back okay. There's a nice path. I think the shift might play in their favour as well.
Hard to tell. We look at up into the Oracle cloud there. What's it telling us? Well, it's telling us there's a lot more wind where New Zealand are at the moment, so that should be good news for them. Not a bad angle on the Kiwis. French have a pretty good angle as well. It's going to be interesting to see what the wind decides to do when they meet each other. Right of way, DS Automobile France. Looks like the Black foils have got themselves back in the race. We're going to have a little look back in on the start here as we're on board the French team. Well, he nailed it, didn't he? Delapierre, he was a little bit back. That gave him a bit more room to accelerate, and he turned the bow away, and then look at the pace towards Mark 1. Hammer down. Los Gallos in above Black foils. I mean, it must be just full on coming in towards that mark.
And a tip of the cap to the flight controllers, as Stevie said. I'm amazed just at those speeds how smooth they were able to keep that.
It was the Spanish that lost out there, just losing a bit of distance off the back of the French from that last leg. Now they're back in the pack.
There is DS Team France, your leaders right now. This is leg 3 of 6. This is the second race for Group A, which has Spain, Switzerland, New Zealand, France, Denmark, Italy, and Brazil. Top 2 teams out of the 2 groups moves on to the Super Event Final on Super Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, they got a little bit high. Oh, I think they've saved it enough. But you see how long they had to keep this board on the left-hand side of the screen down, and we're going to see here, we see that fly time. Fortunately, oh, there you go, just a little high again. Trying to get that line, that fly time line, as a bit of a straighter line. The more it's going up and down, that means the more Jason Saunders is having to do with the controls. Right of way Black foils here, got to be tight. I think the French cross, yeah. Manon agrees with me. Looks like they're going to be ahead, but the Black foils, well, they're just working their way back through the fleet. This is quite interesting, Todd. I do really feel this is the Black foils we saw a year ago.
Yeah, 100% agree. They were known for working their way through, getting a 5th at the start and coming back and getting a top 2 finish. Another tight crossing here, and it looks like Red Bull Italy coming really close to ROCKWOOL.
That was so tight. Oh, and the Spanish got high, lost the runners. Oh, it's so gusty at the top. Spain are going to take a minute to resettle.
Phil Robertson's going to dive inside.
He will, and he's not allowed to, but because it's not close, no problem. You see, so had the Spanish been able to shut the door, it would have been a problem for Robertson, but they couldn't. Spain are just loose as around the top there. They've totally lost the boat in there. Very, very unlike them. Italy are off the foils. Spain are off the foils. ROCKWOOL Denmark are going to go from 5th to 3rd in the blink of an eye.
Oh, and Spain both holes in the water.
So uncharacteristic, and a boundary penalty. Oh, Explorer Swiss.
What in the world?
Oh, what a move by Sassnitz there. That was absolutely full noise. Sent it across the front of those two boats. I mean, it's just all going on at the top of the course.
There's Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil. Now they're getting into the mix. So we got 4 boats in the back fighting for positions. Out in front, though, you got DS Team France and New Zealand having their own little battle out on the Baltic. And then a big gap back to 3rd place and ROCKWOOL Denmark.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what plays out down here. Again, great camera angle. You see these dark patches. France are sailing towards a huge gust of wind there, and there looks like quite good wind towards the top of our screen, but it's very variable. It's more consistent on the left-hand side of the screen, away from the shore. Here we go, we're going to come back on board Italy here. So Spain nip across in front of Denmark. The Italians don't think they will. Such a technical manoeuvre. Andrea Terzi, right-hand side flight controller. He's got to try and manage huge changing loads. See the Italians, look at the dip behind there, and then ROCKWOOL throw a manoeuvre in the middle of that. So tight on board, all these manoeuvres. And we see for the Spanish, he then sees a nice way round the Italians, and he's going to get across. I mean, oh wow, it's all changing. They just sneak across in front of ROCKWOOL Denmark there. Well, anyway, the play out of that is the 2 teams at the front are still the 2 teams at the front, but ROCKWOOL have won out well in that, and the Swiss have done very well as well, a 4th. They were out of the points before that. Spain, we were almost, well, maybe just me, almost handing them a place in the final, and now, wow, you've got work to do.
Yeah, Spain currently sits in 5th. Remember, they're the team that has won the back-to-back events here in season 6, but they're in real jeopardy right now of not making it if they don't get into the top 2. Right now, it's New Zealand who won the first race. The Swiss finished 2nd, Italy 3rd, and France 4th in race number 1. And now it is all topsy-turvy. Now France is in the lead on this race. New Zealand tucked in safely into 2nd place with ROCKWOOL Denmark in 3rd.
Weird manoeuvre by Mubadala Brazil there. They were through the middle of the gate, and then they've done a left turn and sailed an extra 100 metres. Still not clicking on board this Brazilian boat, and we're getting towards a point in the season where we talked about this with USA at exactly this time last season. You know, when do you make changes? Because I hate to say it, but it's not working.
Yeah, Martini Grail, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist and 2-time world champion.
So we want to try and get to land.
Yeah, France have got this race locked down here. Black Foils, I mean, they'll be very happy to get a second. They really look like they were on a charge on that upwind, but De La Pierre got things settled, and that French, this is the French team again we remember in a bit of breeze. Remember them in Sydney a few years ago, here last year. They took the win here last year, didn't they? So if any team should be comfortable here, it's them.
Remember, they had the big boat incident during practice racing, sent Quentin De La Pierre to the hospital to get checked out as he almost folded himself in half on a full e-brake moment, going from about 80 kilometers an hour to 0. And then he comes back on Super Sunday and gets it done and wins the whole event. So fond memories for Quentin De La Pierre and DS Team France last year as they won in Sassnitz. Now, are they on the road to getting that done now? They still have to be a top 2 in this group to get into the final.
Yeah, I think it's not going to be enough just to win this race. They need to make sure they're in the top 2 just to make the final for this event. But if they want to make their mark on the grand final, they're going to have to be consistent at the front of the fleet.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they've really got to get there. I mean, what a good race for them. And, you know, Lee McMillan back. First time he's had a proper event for a while.
So Group A's race number 2 goes the way of Le Bleu. The Emirates winning moment goes to DS Team France.
Yeah, solid race for them. Solid race for the Black Foils. ROCKWOOL Denmark needed that as well. So, you know, this group's going to be really, really tight, and Los Gallos have got work to do. I think Black Foils, all right, 2nd place now. They cross the finish line, so it's not the 2 first of the Bonds Flying Rouge. But I think when we actually see the shake-up of the points, the Black Foils are going to be well ahead.
So the top 3 in race number 2 for Group A will be France, New Zealand, and ROCKWOOL Denmark. Remember, race number 1, it was New Zealand, Switzerland, and Italy. Much more racing to carry on here in Sassnitz. So Spain, Stevie, will rebound, and I hate to say this, with a 4th with the Swiss going from a second to a fifth.
Yeah, I mean, and more importantly, potentially, when we get to the end of play tomorrow, the Spanish went back to last in this race and then have saved a few points. Every point counts on a day or a weekend like this. So the fact they've salvaged something, and then the Swiss were ahead of them, they've lost a point. How much are the Swiss going to rue losing that point? How much is Spain going to love gaining those 2 points? I guess we'll find out tomorrow. And Italy again, you see, we talked about the promise in the race before. A few little mistakes here.
So unfortunately for Brazil, it's a 6th and a 7th to open up Saturday here in Sassnitz. They've got one more race to try to right the ship and get themselves back in the conversation for a spot in the event final. Remember, only 4 boats will compete on the final race on Super Sunday here at the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz.
Start, the whole fleet got very close together, a little bit more spread out this time. Black Foils have got a nice bit of space at the top of the line, but they've got to execute from there. Now they're going to have to wind it up on board the Black Foils. Our Rolex Pro Predictor sits on board Las Gaias. We're looking for that line to turn white. Black Foils are going to be late. Swiss look like they're going to get this right. Oh, the Swiss are slow on the foils, though. It's really dropped off in the start box under the land. Top of the line, Contant de la Pierre, well, he's given himself a chance. Now it's hammer time.
Okay, gust on in 2, 1, now.
Oh, look at the acceleration on board the French boat. But I think it might be too little too late. Los Gaias need a result. They really, really need a result here.
Bearing away in 5, 3, 2, 1, and bearing away.
At Mark 1, the Bearway, the big-time speeds, 100, 105, 106. ROCKWOOL, Denmark, blowing the record, and the French go 107. Are you kidding me?
107, 0 to 0, though. A little bit too loose on both those boats at Mark 1. They've fallen off the foils. They're struggling to get inside the course there. Wow, that was hectic. We need to see that one back. Big penalty for Spain here, massive penalty. They're going to have to drop probably all the way back, and it's the Black Foils that are going to take a big advantage here. Calm and collected on board the Black Foils and on the Swiss team.
I could have missed a number, but it looked like the French hit 107. DS Team France could be the holders of the new speed record in SailGP.
At that speed, Todd, you'd start to get cavitation around the foils, so that's where there's like air bubbles just forming on the foils because of the pressure differential on it, and that would just feel like the whole wheel would be shaking in your hands, bouncing in and out of control as you have water going around it or not. Well, de la Pierre's got it back under control at gate 2.
Talk about driving it like you stole it and then some. That was the Fast and the Furious French version, as Contant de la Pierre, the winners of the last race, looking to make it 2 for 2. He has got the Explorer Swiss team right behind him. Looks like Diego Botín has righted the ship, and Los Gaias will opt for the other side, and the Kiwis will go with them.
Todd, never let anyone say anything about your eyesight. 107.63. Absolutely lit like a Christmas tree. That's over 57 knots in old money for the sailors out there that like to have it in the old school's way of saying it. Incredible speeds as we see that around there. As we look now, we can...
Explorer Swiss.
Oh, the Explorer Swiss have had a big shocker there. They're really, really slow. And this has opened the door for Los Gaias. And look at the breeze on that side of the course. ROCKWOOL, Denmark going around the outside. They well back in the pack. It's so hard. If you get so fast as that, you just they basically skid it out of control. Yep. It's like you're going into a corner in a car too fast. It's all very well. You can make this car go fast, but then it goes wrong. But look at Los Gaias, Hannah. They are right back in it.
Yeah, it looks like what's happened is that the breeze has come up and it's going back down, so it's way more unpredictable than it has been earlier in the day.
Look at this. Oh.
Yeah, it was so fast. So actually the 107.63 was the French. Look how high they are on the foils on ROCKWOOL Denmark. Barely any foil in the water. And the trouble with that is you start pulling air down onto your foil on board the Danish boat and on board the Spanish boat. They get so high that you start sucking air down the sides of the foils there, and the whole thing then will ventilate and let go, and you drop down. So it's the French, de la Pierre. Well, we know he likes to drive it fast, and he's absolutely nailed that right-hand corner screen. Look at this, lead change though for the Spanish. There's definitely more wind in the left-hand side of the course at the moment where Spain are headed. So the Spanish are picking this course apart at the moment after a disastrous Mark 1.
Final race of the day. This is Group A that'll wrap things up on Saturday as we go down on the water. Lisa, I don't know if you saw that coming, that speed of 107.6, but was it a shift, or what was the reason for that? Did they just find a hot pocket?
Yeah, there was a big bullet, but because they had ROCKWOOL and Los Gallos, the French had to go super wide, which means they had a real fast angle for the bear away. So it was a perfect recipe for them, and we know Quentin Delapierre likes to push it. But I tell you, as we're approaching this top gate, it's getting really crazy again. So it's going to be tough for these teams to navigate it.
Yeah, she talks about the craziness, Stevie. There's just so much room, and there's 7 teams that are all fighting to get in the top 2 to make it to the event final.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is you see on our leaderboard up there, it says 27 kilometers an hour. Well, that's because that wind reading is coming from quite near the shore. So the wind on the course is very different, because where the Spanish are coming now, you see how dark the water is. It's absolutely hooning out on this side of the course. There is loads of breeze. There's nearly 15 kilometers an hour more wind if you take this left turn here. So the Spanish, well, they fell off the foils, they sailed miles outside the course, they took a penalty, but then that's how you compose yourself, because they've done a great job of managing to resettle things.
Yeah, and I think a speed record on its own doesn't get you into the final, so being able to settle the nerves, keep the adrenaline down, lower that heart rate, make good decisions around the course is what's going to be key to winning these races.
It doesn't get you in the final, Stevie, but you can walk around town tonight and be like, you know, there's only one team that's gone 107, and you're looking at them.
You're getting a T-shirt printed, aren't you, Todd? That is for sure. You're getting a T-shirt printed. Well, anyway, big moment here as well, because where that more wind was, the Kiwis didn't take it, so themselves a little bit of extra space. They might have a chance. A very good angle on board that Kiwi boat at the moment. They're in a lot of wind. You can see they're hooning down in that big black dark patch of water there. So they will have made a gain on the French. And yeah, we talked about points being absolutely crucial. Well, obviously for Spain it's crucial. France have gone from first to second. So they've got a -1 in this race at the moment. How crucial will that be tomorrow, especially when the team overtaking you is one of the top teams like Spain?
Like 4 of 6 in the final race of the day here in Sassnitz, and it is Los Gallos out in front by nearly 200 meters over DS Team France, the winners of the last race here for Group A. Remember, race number 1, it seems like a long time ago. The Kiwis won that, so this could be 3 races, 3 different winners. But for the Spanish, Hannah, this was an absolute must-have. They finished 7th in race 1. They didn't do much better. They finished 4th in race 2, but a first place to wrap the day up will vault them to the top, close to the top of the leaderboard.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't won it yet, but this is definitely much more where we're used to seeing this team in the fleet, and I think they'll just be looking to keep things really nice and simple on the way up to the top of the course again.
And look at this. That would put them on 7 points even with Explorer Swiss, Stevie. You still got the Black Foils and DS Team France, no surprise, at the very top.
Yeah, I mean, I just love how tight both these groups are. I mean, we've got some day ahead of us. We've got some day ahead of us tomorrow. That is for sure. And Los Gallos, I thought it's the first time, I was going to say it in the last race, where I thought they've looked slow today. But now they've refound the wheels, haven't they? Because they're going really fast again. And this is another big gain coming here, because there's just less wind where the French are at the moment. You can see how light the water is. It's not magic. It's not black magic seeing the wind out there. You're looking for the texture differences like we can see from here. Delapierre would have been able to see that. He's rolled the dice and it just wasn't the time to roll it. Big loss of distance here to the French. Can they hold on to second?
Yeah, I think that's been the change here, hasn't it? The pressure difference across the course has got much more marked, so the strategy is becoming more and more important. It's not just about your straight line speed. You have to pick the right place on the course.
There are the standings right now. Group A event points, and Spain looking to pick up a victory. Again, not doing great to open things up. They finished dead last in race number 1. They moved up to 4th place in race number 2. They are on their way to a possible win, but DS Team France now is closing it down just a little bit. Red Bull Italy, Phil Robertson and company, they are starting to move up. They are currently sitting in 3rd. Looks like they're going to yield a position to the Black Foils of New Zealand, who've just got the right of way, and they now move ahead into 3rd. So Italy goes back to 4th. Jimmy Spithill's squad trying to make some gains here and pick up some valuable points. Explorers Swiss sit in 5th place. And for the Swiss, Stevie, start off with a great race in race number 1, finishing 2nd. Then they drop back to a 5th. So they're trying to climb the ladder as well. Remember, everyone is trying to be in a top 2 position in their group to make the event final.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's just really tight, and mistakes hurt you. We see at the bottom there, 6th place, ROCKWOOL Denmark. I mean, they were 2nd at Mark 1, and they went way over 100, but they got so loose on that moment, fell off the foils, and now they're out of the points. And I really thought they'd sort of been starting to get their wheels back on the bus and starting to look really good. But right now, it's Spain that are the ones that have managed to refine their form out there. They've done a really good job. French have had 2 good ones at the end of the day here. So Delapierre, that Delapierre-Macmillan partnership, clearly starting to find itself again. Good angle for the French. Black Foils are going to be consistent. But yeah, what a big day out for both groups.
At the final gate, it will be Los Gallos, the winners of the last two events that bring it around the corner, and watch their speed again. Looking for more, 97, 98, dropping it down to 90 cool kilometers per hour. But in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Los Gallos. Spain win in race 3. What a way to wrap up the racing for Group A.
Sorry about this. No problem, that last hack over there.
Nice job of salvaging the third race, Stevie, as the Kiwis will hold on for third with Italy in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it was some race, wasn't it? And just so much happened at different points. Spanish and the Kiwis took a good bit of position. We see there the Italians got pushed wide, and the Swiss are going to get a 4th.
Yep.
That's going to be crucial for the Swiss. That point's huge. And Italy, another one they'll be ruining.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit of a slip up, no big mistake, but it's another point gone.
So Denmark will grab 6th, and 7th place will belong to the Brazilians and Martini Grail, who finished in last. And so the racing is now complete here on day number 1 of the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix in Sassnitz.
Italians are standing by. Italians go forward.
There's plenty of talent out here as they manoeuvre into the start. Spain slightly late back into the box as well. They're taking second pick here on things. Look like they're going to be towards the bottom end of the start line on board the Spanish boat. Should be a gap. Well positioned in Mubadala, Brazil and New Zealand. The black foils in the middle of the line. 5 seconds to go. They're all a bit late. Wind it up. Here we go. They're going to go fast. Great start by the French, great start by the black foils. It's a sprint to Mark 1. Faster angle sits with the black foils, but they got a long way to go to get over the top of the French.
Excellent.
As they approach mark number 1, this is Group A out on the water. And as they are led, we get a penalty coming in from the umpire, but it's on the inside.
Penalty Brazil. Winner boat not keeping clear, go behind Switzerland.
So getting the whole shot and going over 90 kilometers an hour is the Black Foils of New Zealand, with France in 2nd.
Tell you what, we've seen some incredible top speeds at this event. The average speed down there by the Black Foils was insane. Leo Takahashi on the flight control, absolutely sending it. And those two boats that, of course, early in the season had such a close coming together. The skill levels there, unbelievable. Massive rotation in the wind, Hannah. Look, they're nearly sailing straight down the course.
Yeah, almost straight down the course, which could make it pretty tricky to pick your gate mark here, because how long this shift's going to stay for, we're not quite sure. But Black Foils doing that first manoeuvre here.
Lovely panning shot, but from the Black Foils to show us upwind though, and it doesn't look like any huge rain clouds in the background looking out to my eye, so maybe could sit really sort of fairly confident that, yeah, right turn, come out towards this bottom left-hand side of our screen. I think that's where the most breeze will be, and the French have lost a lot by manoeuvring out early. Spanish are out the back though, Todd, so those teams, Switzerland, Spain and France, that really need a result, does this maybe bring ROCKWOOL Denmark into the game if they can hold on to second? And for the Black Foils, if they stay in first, I think that would automatically put them in the final.
And despite an early penalty, Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil find themselves in 3rd place, but it is still the Black Foils out in front. ROCKWOOL Denmark sit in 2nd, and Red Bull Italy will split. They will opt for the other side of the DP World Gate.
Yeah, I mean, this race to the final is going to be so tight now with the French. They've got to do some work. They're in 3rd at the moment. They've decided to manoeuvre quite near the boundary. They'll be in disturbed air, though, back in the pack. Here we go, top left-hand side. That's what we're going to have to keep our eyes through this. France and New Zealand would automatically, even without another race, be in the final if it stays like this. More than 5 points is what you're looking for as a difference. But bottom right-hand side of screen there, Italy are out the back, and the Spanish, well, he's put a rocket booster in there.
You're pretty happy right now if you're the Black Foils, because you've got everyone lined up behind you or to leeward of you, so they're in a really nice controlling position. But for the other teams who've got some points to make up, actually the way the course is set up right now, it's going to be pretty hard to make some big overtakes unless something changes.
Yeah, New Zealand look pretty well set up. I wonder if we should go to our own wind whisperer, Lisa Darmanin, and see if she's seeing a bit of a weather change coming.
Yes, Stevie, I think they're getting a really nice left shift and in pressure, so they're sailing straight up the course, minimal manoeuvres, and just absolutely locking this race down from anyone behind them.
So it's the Black Foils out in front here, leg 3 of 6, as they continue to try to expand that lead. ROCKWOOL Denmark sits in 2nd. France has dropped back to 3rd with Explorer Swiss in 4th. Mubadala Brazil holding at 5, and Spain still not not seeming to be able to get up the pack, but on the screen, Steve, it looks like Spain is actually in third.
Well, they look like they're going to lay that right turn, Todd. They look like they make to the right turn without any more manoeuvres. Rockwool are going to sail. I expect they're going to go left turn Barroway. Tricky manoeuvre coming up here for Rockwool. I'd keep our eyes on them, because in this much breeze, the tack Barroway, well, it's caught a few famous people out before.
Big grind, Polo. 3, 2, 1. I'll catch you.
Oh, low. They did very, very well, but you see how they're managing that speed and the loading on the foils. Incredible job they did on board there. Black foils have boosted away. Spain are up to second, Todd, in the race to the final. They're ahead of the French.
They went from 5th to 2nd place in a matter of moments. Down the bottom of your screen there, you see ROCKWOOL Denmark with a good speed there. You've got Spain sitting in 2nd. No one's touching the black foils as they are tipping over 90 kilometers an hour, and they'll be down to the bottom of the course. They'll come back up and then a right turn to the finish line.
Yeah, I'm taking right turn again here, Hannah. I mean, it feels to me like the weather's steadied a little bit, and this bottom of our screen side of the course is the place to go.
Yeah, definitely. I think from here, if everything stays as it is, you just want to make things as simple as possible. Sail the shortest distance, and that would definitely be right turn. But opposite to what happened at the top with ROCKWOOL, it's going to be a round-up tack for the black foils, not an easy maneuver either.
So at gate number 4, it is the black foils. You saw the Rolex chasing time hovering right around 13 seconds to the next team, which is Spain, the champions of season 4. They come in. ROCKWOOL has to make one more maneuver to make it in, and Spain will shoot straight in and follow the black foils.
Yeah, but ROCKWOOL might have the inside right here. They own the mark on the French. The French have got to allow them in here. So advantage ROCKWOOL at the moment. As soon as they exit the mark, if France can go, oh, the French are struggling to control it. Oh, they got too loose. Oh, that was a big, big error. Big error, but they've saved it. Explorer Swiss are in the mix, but for Spain, that's another point back in this race to the final.
Take you on board, Explorer Swiss, their driver, 3-time Olympian Sebastian Schneider.
I have to say, halfway down that last leg, I thought that the French were pretty well in with the course that was set up the way that it is, but I didn't see them making that error at the bottom. Nice recovery. They're in a tough position here.
Here we go. We're going to come back, and we sort of got the French off to the right-hand side here, and you see a big turn there, but just as they round up, they just get a little bit tight on the wing sheet. A lot of heel on the boat there as they turn through the power zone. Turn at 90 degrees. I mean, that's some, so I don't really need to talk. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Real good shot on in and 2.
Wow.
Remind ourselves yesterday, the 3 races for Group A, the winners were New Zealand, France, and Spain. So it's kind of playing out that way right now as New Zealand leads. Spain sits in 2nd, and France is in 3rd.
Yeah, and the Kiwis, here we go, race to the final. There you go, Los Guards to be back to 2. So that, I mean, I'll be stunned if the black foils, well, maybe I should keep my mouth shut, but I'll be stunned if they don't win it from here. They'll be in the final. Black foils will be through, even with one more race to go. And then we've got one more race. Technically, the Swiss could make it if Los DS Automobile were last, but it's Los Guardos against the French, basically, is the showdown we've got going into the next race.
So the first day and the first race on Super Sunday for Group A belongs once again to the Black Foils of New Zealand, just like they did on Saturday. They win the first race of the day,
France
and they have now punched their ticket. We've got a tight crossing here. It'll be Explorer Swiss with the right away, just done enough. They'll dip behind ROCKWOOL Denmark, but they will lose, and the Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Black Foils. 2nd place belongs to Los Gallos, Spain, and now the battle is on for 3rd.
The French are parked. They've had to park the boat, basically, to get round it. It's a re-acceleration match there. Oh, the French did an incredible job.
The French need this point.
They've got to give room to ROCKWOOL. ROCKWOOL have got room in here. France have got to let them in, but can France stay quick enough? Yeah. Great work by the French.
Nice. Well done.
So it's France holding on for 3rd. ROCKWOOL will get 4th, and Swiss will get 5th.
Like you said, Todd, what brilliant work by the French, because that 1 point, that's absolutely huge in this race to that final.
You want to get down to the pit lane a bit fast?
Now this is crunch time here. Hopefully not Le Crunch. It is crunch time. We see the French coming in at the top of the line. Spanish are going to make the first decision towards the right-hand side of our screen. We're on board ROCKWOOL. This could be quite a good place to watch things unfold from. Right now, we can see the French are turning back the boat early. Spain are going to come with a bit of a run-up. So for France, I think it's just try and get a solid start and a decent result. Spain have got to be leading at Mark 1 here, I think, to really have a chance to get people through. They look, relatively speaking, late on board Spain. They're going to need a big gap to fall up, and they're going to be hammered down. Switzerland early back. Again, I like where the black foils are. DS Automobile, France are well set. The Rolex pole predictor is going to open a gap for the Spanish. Here comes Diego Boutin through the middle of the pack. Oh, he's nailed it!
Umpires.
What a start!
Penalty Switzerland.
The Spanish, the gap
behind all
opened. It
boats.
was like Moses parting the Red Sea at the start there, and he just fired out the middle of the line. French are going to be back in the pack, and the Spanish are down the road.
Spain is in fuego as they approach mark number 1, pushing 90 kilometers an hour, and they've got a sizable lead. They will take the whole shot, and the race is on here in race 5.
He needs 2 boats between him and the French, and then they'd be tied on point. At the moment, Spain are in the final. However, now if you're Spanish, you've got to sail away from the fleet and not try and slow ROCKWOOL Denmark or the Italians down. And these French right now are the ham in the middle of a sandwich, because they're going to have to give way to the black foils very soon here. Black foils set up. Oh, they're in the zone there. Oh, I think that'd be a protest from the black foils. They would have said they could have turned and that they couldn't because of DS Automobile France. The French now need to watch out for the black foils. Really, really tight on the boundary.
Boy, France is just being pinched right now from Red Bull Italy on their left. They've got the black foils on their right. Terrible penalty, unfortunately, for Explorer Swiss. That's put them to the back of the pack. And at the DP World Gate, gate number 2, it is Los Gallos, Spain, out in front. They needed a great start. They got it. Denmark sits in second. ROCKWOOL Denmark. Then you have Red Bull Italy in third. And look at this. The black foils and France, DS Team France, will continue their dance on the left side of the course.
So I just spoke to Craig Mitchell. The Kiwis didn't protest the French there. Do you reckon the Kiwis would rather have the French in the final than the Spanish?
I was thinking that in the previous race, how you would tactically sail different to try and influence, but I think there's so much going on. Maybe they've got enough bandwidth to be aware of it, but sailing these boats in these conditions is really hard, so I'd be surprised if they were being that specific at this point.
At this point, Stevie, they're not going to get their wish if that's what they were hoping for, because the standings look like this. It would be the black foils in and Los Gallos finding a way. I mean, you got to look back earlier in this days, and they were just terrible. I mean, the only way to put it, the first race they finished in 7th place. The next race they finished in 4th place. It took them 3 races before they got a win. Then they got a second in the last race we just saw them in, and they're on their way to possibly winning this race.
Do you know what? We always used to say this about the Bonds Flying Roos and Tom Slingsby. Oh, they're not going to make the final. They make the final and then they win. It was sort of winning became inevitable, and it, I don't know, Spain is starting to do that, like you say. Lisa, we saw that left turn at the bottom. Looks like a sizable gain out there. You said halfway through the race it's going to get diabolical. How's that looking?
Well, the rain hasn't quite hit us yet, so I actually see a lot more pressure at the gate that they're going to at the moment. So as the wind increases, it should be a little bit easier for everybody because they're going to stay on the foils. But yeah, massive gain by the Spanish here.
French have done an extra manoeuvre back to come to the bottom of our screen, Todd. Extra manoeuvres are normally a sign that you're in a compromised position. So big roll of the dice here. And as we see that race to the final, yeah, well, the French do actually need to get 2 places back to make the final. Remember, the French can't be tied with the Spanish because it's whoever does best in this race.
So Diego Botín, the last man to cross over. Bo van der Velden there, setting to welcome him in as the strategist. And it is Spain now with a 100-meter lead over Denmark. That's not their concern. Their concern is France, who's now mired back in 5th place. This is the final fleet race for Group number 8.
Yeah, and the Swiss are going to get a piece of the French here as well, Todd. Swiss have got rights away, right-hand side of our screen there with DS Automobile France. So France is going to go behind them. I think when they come back together next time, they'll be ahead, the French, because they look well lined up for the next gate. But at the moment, the French have lost another place up here. They lost that place to the black foils, and potentially the French are going to need 2 more places. They're going to need to overtake 2 boats here somewhere. Contant de la Pierre, time to find your magic ball and pull something out the bag here, because Los Gallos are down the road, and France needs people to make mistakes.
What we've seen so far is when that left shift comes in and you're able to sail much more up and down the course. There's not so many overtaking opportunities, so they're going to be hoping that the wind comes a bit more central to the course so that it opens up some of those lanes to make some overtakes.
So it's down to the bottom of the course, then they'll come back up, and then a right-hand turn, and then the finish line.
The umpires, penalty Italy, not giving room at the boundary, go behind Denmark.
That's interesting, because they've got to only drop behind. But if you do that wrong, you only want to lose just enough for ROCKWOOL to get past. You don't want to let ROCKWOOL get past and then doing so make a mistake and end up drawn back in the pack. You can see they've gone 2 foils in on Italy there. They're slowing the boat down to try and let ROCKWOOL go round. But you've got to make sure you don't get drawn back into a fight with black foils and the French.
So So Phil Robertson and Red Bull Italy, they take their penalty. They drop behind ROCKWOOL Denmark. The penalty is now gone. They sit in third place and now bringing it back up to speed. Meanwhile, Los Gallos Spain out in front. Winners of the last two events. Can they join the 3-in-a-row club?
Yeah, I mean, you're struggling a bit against them at the moment, aren't you? Because they're sailing the boat fast again towards the end of the day. Here we go, Diego's talking about a lot of breeze. Let's keep our eye on the right-hand side. Can they control the roundup? Yeah, they're looking good, and you can see the French are they're just a bit stuck. What's hard, a bit to Hannah's point, you just don't many overtaking opportunities.
No, that's right. I think the Swiss have done a nice job. They've kind of made some distance there, but one of the problems the French have got is that the boat in front of them is the Black Foils, the one that's leading their group. You'd kind of want maybe a team that wasn't so strong in the breeze as the one you're going to overtake, but the Swiss have done really nicely here, catching back up to this group, potentially challenging the French.
I think what's interesting is if you can get out of phase, so if you can get going whilst they're taking a left turn, you're taking a right turn, which is here, then you've got a chance to find more breeze. Of course, little mistakes like that on the Swiss boat, that doesn't help. That slows you down, loses you meters. But being out of phase gives you the opportunity to overtake. Just in this situation, you're relying on having more speed than the boat in front. And as you say, if that boat in front's the Black Foils, well, that's possibly over-optimistic.
So if it stays like this, it'll be the Black Foils in New Zealand, Los Gallos, Spain, moving on to the 4-boat final. They'll be joined by North Star Canada and the Bonds Flying Roos, and that'll be a spicy one. But right now, Quentin Delapierre, Steve, you said he has got very little time and very little distance to make something happen. He needs to overtake 2 boats.
And he's right in the disturb, winning the keep. I mean,
oh, a big dip.
Yeah, massive mistake. That could be it. I imagine probably the tempo's gone on the boat. Bit of frustration kicking in now. A feel of inevitability. There you go, Philippe Presti, the coach. I mean, he's seen many wins before, but that's the look of a coach that's sort of thinking, okay, I'm not entirely sure what to say right now because this is not the way we planned it.
Well, the consolation prize for DS Team France, if they do not make the final, is they are the fastest team in SailGP. Yesterday, setting the speed record, if you weren't with us, going 107.63 kilometers per hour to set the new record. And there are the current finalists on the bottom left. It would be the Black Foils as well as Los Gallos. It would be North Star Canada and the Bonds Flying Roos. That is a talented group of sailors.
Well, you've got to turn up at that party with a gold medal, otherwise you're feeling somewhat underwhelmed, yeah. There we go, Simone Salva, coach of the Spanish. Oh, thanks, Simone. A little wave. He's obviously feeling pretty relaxed with what he sees there.
I think they've put on a bit of a masterclass in this race from the start when everything opened up, and then sailed really, really solid race here.
Yeah, I mean, they nailed that start when the pressure was on, didn't they? They had to need an opportunity, they took it.
They spin it around and they make it count when it's needed most. Once again, the winners in this race, Los Gallos, as Spain gets the victory here in race number 5. It'll be Denmark that'll grab second place. It looks like Red Bull Italy might hold on for that third. And New Zealand, more importantly, Stevie, they bring home the asset safely.
Yeah, they'll be through to the final as well. And ROCKWOOL's been a bit of an up and down weekend, hasn't it? You know, they lost their speed record and some good races, but just still not quite got that consistency to get themselves in a final, which is somewhere they'd expect to be.
Good finish for Red Bull Italy. Black Foils are in 4th, didn't need the points, but they'll take them nonetheless, and they will be into the final. That'll be a fantastic showdown, Stevie. I'm trying to compute, as you said, the number of gold medals in that group. Yeah. I think we're looking at 7 or 8 gold medals between those 4 boats. Yeah,
and we just had a little shot there. You could see Marcus Hansen, Stu Dodson, the big grinding unit on the front of that Kiwi boat, and I think we perhaps underestimate that. I saw some stats from yesterday, and in some of the jibes, the wing trimmers are putting down about 1,600 watts. Oof. Now, I know you love a bit of pedalling, so I don't know how many watts you put down on your bike this morning, but
not that many.
No. And they're doing that with their arms whilst getting flung around at a serious amount of pace. So you're a bit of when it is this gusty and shifty, and I think especially with the small wing, you have to move it quite a lot. Then they're doing an awful lot of movement on that, a lot of power from those grinders.
So a great job. All the fleet racing is now complete, and all that is left is the event final here at Super Sunday at the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix. Wow, clouds have moved in like Master and Commander here out on the Baltic.
That's full on. Here we go. This stat here, Hannah, is amazing, isn't it? So that's the number of finals teams have been in and then how many they've won. And if you look at the Blackfoils, their conversion rate, that's the highest percentage of finals in to wins completed. So I think that backs me up. But again, you're not backing against Los Gallos currently. And, you know, any of these teams can win. That's what we've said. A lot of gold medals out there.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think North Star Canada feel like they'll have something to prove. I know they felt frustrated that they've been in a number of finals but haven't managed to make it win. But it's going to be all on for this race. It looks breezy.
Here we go.
7 is the number. 7 gold medals between these 4 teams.
Well, that's pretty impressive,
Just
isn't
the drivers.
Just the drivers, yeah, unbelievable that. Here we go, so killing 12. So a lot of those other boats are early back. This is a good opportunity for the Bonds Flying Roos, I'd say. Yeah, I think the Blackfoils are pretty trapped high on the line here. Big opportunity for the Australians to close this start hour. I love where they are, 5 seconds to go. They are maybe late on the other boats. Canada are slowing them up. Bonds Flying Roos are going to be fast at the gun here. Brilliant from Slingsby. He's going to have a big lead at Mark 1. North Star got too close to the line there and they had to park everyone else up. Big lead coming for the Aussies. Last time out, the Spanish did start in the medal race in last and then they got through and won that final. So we'll see how it goes. Blackfoils, look at the pace on the Kiwi boat. Brave as you like on board New Zealand, but they're not going to get near the Bonds Flying Roos.
At Mark 1, it is the Bonds Flying Roos, the Rolex sprint leaders here in the event final at Sassnitz. Can they make this stick all the way to the very end?
Spain first to go away. Seems a logical move, Hannah.
Yeah, although it does feel like a bit of a risk. That early manoeuvre hasn't paid off so far today, but let's see what happens.
Okay, they come into the boundary here, so New Zealand get the right of way now, but they've got quite a big gap to North Star Canada. Their first to manoeuvre, North Star matched that. They'll be trying to just keep it tight, but at the moment the Bonds Flying Roos have got a pretty big lead. But got to think, last time we had a big rain cell like this, it went to absolute custard just after it, didn't it? Hardly any wind, it got really, really sticky. Oh, North Star have made a little error. They're off the foils. Kiwis are going over the top, but the Kiwis have got to keep clear of them. Blackfoils are through into second.
As they approach gate number 2, the DP World Gate, the question is, where do you go? It looks like the Bonds Flying Roos are going to opt for the left-hand side. Does everyone follow them? It does be the Blackfoils. North Star Canada is going to split, go the other way, as well as Los Gallos. So we have 2 for 2 on each side. We check in with Lisa Darmana down on the water. Lisa, over the next 12 minutes, some big decisions are going to have to be made. Who's making the right ones right now?
Oh, I think you can't really think a minute ahead on this race course. A, it's just so changeable, but B, the visibility is really hard as well. So when you've got rain on the racetrack and it's gusty like this, it's hard to read and predict. So it's so tough out here, but obviously being in front gives you the choice, but being behind, you can see the holes.
Yeah, Stevie, Lisa's talking about the visibility. It is brutal right now. It is like full fog bank has rolled in with the storm, but we can tell you it is the Bonds Flying Roos that are out in front. This is the form, Hannah, that we saw from Australia on day 1.
Yeah, and actually in the finals this season, they have converted every Mark 1 lead in a final to a victory.
That's a good stat. Not if you're on any of the other teams, but that is still a good stat. I mean, it looks gnarly out there, doesn't it? That wind's hitting him in the face. There's 30 kilometres an hour of wind. They're going upwind at about 35, 40, 50 kilometres an hour. So you've got rain hitting you in the face at 100 kilometres an hour. There's a reason Tom Slingsby's cowering forward there, I'd say. But big lead. Looks like at the moment the Blackfoils are holding on, but the Aussies have extended here. They've got a bit of extra space and speed. The fleet come back together, not a lot in it.
Again, and your wheel, Annie, can't see anything. You call the board, Annie, you call the setup, I can see nothing.
I think that's come from a little bit earlier there. So he's saying, like, call the setup versus Spain. When Spain manoeuvre right-hand side of our screen, they'll very quickly gain the right of way and start converging. And obviously Charles can't see. So you've got to split the roles. You've got plenty of eyes on the boat. Annie Hager just gets down to leeward and she'll be calling that manoeuvre by the Spanish.
You can see the driving rain on the screen there. Feels like daggers when you're sailing up at this speed.
If the wind screen's good, it's the wind is fucked. All right.
Oh, excuse me for the language. I think he meant the wind instruments are not quite working properly, was I think the intention of that comment.
Stevie Morrison with the proper translation. So here we go. This is like 3 of 6, the halfway point as they come up on gate number 3. It is the Bonds Flying Roos out in front. The Blackfoils of New Zealand sit in second. Los Gallos, Spain, winners of the last 2 events in third, and North Star Canada in fourth. This is the event final here in Sassnitz. And remember, the Australians have not won a race. You have to go all the way back to New York earlier this season to go to the last event victory for the Bonds Flying Roos.
I think the wind's dropping a little bit here. But if the Australians get round staying on the foils, they'll probably be able to get and extend away. It's easier to stay on the foils going downwind than it is upwind. So I think that could be all right for the Aussies here, but if you don't nail your next manoeuvre and you fall off the foils, feels like it's dropped. Look, it's glass here on the water, Hannah, and that rain has passed through. Black foils look like they've lost some distance.
Yeah, I think the Bronze Flying Roos have got a nice lead at the moment, but this race is definitely not over yet. I think there's potential for the Prix to drop right off after this rain has passed through.
Black foils are on the inside, so they do have the right of way, but I don't think you're going to want to do an extra manoeuvre there. No, look,
right in front of him.
Wow, I think you're struggling for wind in under the shore again. Remember when this happened in the first race?
Right.
All went off a bit, didn't it?
Well, we've seen this before. Remember, the start of today on Super Sunday, we started off with a big breeze, Stevie, and then all of a sudden, as Lisa reported, there's pockets of nothing, and teams were sailing into those pockets of nothing, and one of those teams was the Bronze Flying Roos. They had a lead, they sailed into no pressure, and then they watched people go past them.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's definitely still some good breeze coming. Maybe it won't drop off. I mean, maybe Lisa can see out on the water. I don't. Lisa, are you seeing a big shutdown, or are we going to hang on to a bit of breeze?
I think what we're seeing now is the lightest point. Now that's blown through, and a little bit more is coming around the racetrack. But it's still going to be super gusty, but not as bad as we saw in that first race.
Okay, so good news for the Bronze Flying Roos fans out there, and good news for Deadpool and the Greatest Showman. Somewhere they're smiling because they want to see their team back on top, hoisting the trophy at the end of the day. Remember, the last time Australia won earlier this season was in New York City, and right now the Bronze Flying Roos looking like they did on day number 1 when they won the first 2 races in their group.
Yeah, and don't forget as well, every event there's a prize pool of $800,000. So if they win this race, $400,000, which makes it a pretty nice race, pretty nice day out, even if it is raining. And actually, that's what makes it interesting. Canada, New Zealand Black Foils have just dropped back behind. Well, their chunk of the prize money goes away from them as well. So yes, of course they want pints. Yes, of course they want to win the championships. But who wouldn't like a bit of money in the pocket?
Here comes Spain now, moving up, progressing nicely, just behind the Australians, back about 300 meters as Australia will opt for that left-hand side on our screen right for them as they spin it around. As Lisa reported, looks like maybe the lowest pressure of the day has come through, and now they will be searching for those ripples on the water, looking for those dark patches to pick up some speed and seal this victory.
Just harder to see in this breeze as well, really. With this rain on the water, the texture will have gone out of it, and the Black Foils have really got out of phase down here, unfortunately for them. They've dropped back a lot of distance. Los Gallos, I mean, this would be pretty... Basically, if we think about the race to the final, Hannah, what does this mean to the race to Abu Dhabi? I feel like this is pretty much the Australians in that final. Los Gallos, this is doing no harm to them in terms of getting to that final. Black Foils weren't really in the mix. North Star probably needed to win here to be in the mix. I mean, this is going to help them, but I think might be too little too late. Artemis, USA, GBR, DS Automobile France. I mean, Spain and Australia are gone.
Yeah. Look at the Bronze Flying Roos in the season standings after 8 events. They're sitting on 66 points. 10 more puts them on 76 points with 4 more events to go.
Yeah. And I think Los Gallos would go to nearly over 10 points ahead of Artemis as well. So, you know, massive weekend in the standings. Massive.
So the pressure has come down just a little bit. You see the teams now struggling to keep it in the 50s. This is the same weekend where we had a new speed record set in SailGP, 107.63, put up by DS Team France. Unfortunately, they could not convert that speed into a top 2 position in their group. Thus, they are watching this race. Jason Waterhouse making the cross. Here is Tom Slingsby and his crew. Here's the maneuver.
Really nice crew work there. See, the breeze is down a little bit here. They're having to work the boat quite hard. Just with this 18-meter wing and the high-speed foils on, they're doing a really nice job on board the Bronze Flying Roos. And when there's no one around, we know how much easier it is to sail the boat really nicely.
Soft in fire, soft here now. Stay with me a little here, guys. It's getting very volatile up here.
That's the voice of Ian Jensen there, wing trimmer. He's saying, "Stay with me, guys." He's talking to Sam Newton and Kinley Founder on the grinding unit there. Those guys they'll be puffing right now, I'd imagine. It's been a big day out, and he's saying, "Stay with me, because I've got to do a lot of work to keep this boat heel balanced correctly."
Just tacking in best pressure.
You mentioned before there when the North Star managed to overtake the Black Foils, that changed in overall, but that lead seems to have changed again.
Yeah, and I like where the Black Foils are headed, although they look like they may be sailing into less wind.
It looks to me like they're making a bit of a gain on Los Gallos there. The wind's rotating to the left once again.
Just a buttery smooth tack. You just come in when you need it most. I mean, the Australians, the pressure was on. If they would have fumbled that, Stevie could have opened the door, and no.
Absolutely, although it's definitely a lot easier to make any buttery smooth maneuver when you're 200 meters ahead of the next boat. I think a buttery smooth one from the black foils here to get somewhere near Los Cayos. The race for second's not over just yet. Spain have got a big advantage though, and I expect them to maneuver right in front of the black foils. North Star are nearly off the foils, so yeah, this is, for those prize pots at the end, this is not good news for the Canadians, but the black foils have made a mistake here. They're going to have to do an extra couple of manoeuvres. It's really light, Todd, but that's not going to matter for the Australians.
At the final gate, it is the green and gold as they spin the boat around and see the fans on shore that have stuck through the storm and the rain and the wind. They can bring them home. They are the 3-time champions in SailGP. They lead the overall standings by 12 points, and they do it again. It hasn't been since New York City in the Big Apple, but as they come to the line, your Emirates winning moment goes the way of the Bonds Flying Roos. If only I had a crafty line from Deadpool, I would throw it in there, but it probably would not be rated for this show. But congratulations to Tom Slingsby and the Australians as they get it done. What a great job. And the battle continues now as the wind has completely dropped off. And there's one of those holes that we were talking about of no pressure. Bonds Flying Roos timed it perfectly.
How's your timing, Tom Slingsby? He's absolutely nailed that. Crossed the finish line and then just said, okay, wind, drop off so we can enjoy the celebration on our own for a little bit longer. Here we go. Black foils have the right of way here. Okay, they're overlapped with Spain. Spain are in a really, really tricky position here tactically. If they've got to stay clear ahead of the Kiwis, if they get anywhere close, Burling will protest it. So we'll see what happens.
Slow down here. Slowly turning up. Okay,
Hard to imagine this weekend the speed record was set in SailGP because we now have got ourselves in an old-fashioned drift-off, and the most speed may belong to the Canadians.
They don't have any rights here, though. He's got a job on here on board North Star.
Oh, he's going to thread the needle.
Well, I think Oscar will hold him back, but I don't think he's infringed black foils there.
I'm going forward down.
Oh, I think he's clear. To me, he was clean. He had no rights, so he had to be totally clear. I feel he was clear, but this is not over yet. All the boats are pretty parked up here. Got to get those wing sheets eased, a bit of twist in the top of the wing, trying to encourage the wind round.
Pete Burling's got it going.
Well, Blair Tukes really tweaked that wing out. He's popped a little bit more twist into the wing. They're in glide mode here. He's got the boat rumbling forward. They'll be in disturbed wind, so they've got less opportunities. There's a gust of wind on the water just above them. You can see a slightly dark patch. That'll get to the Canadians first. I won't get a penalty there, Blair, I'm afraid, mate.
Coming down. Your wheel.
Finish line is down from here, isn't it?
Yeah, right-hand corner. They're going nearly downwind in very little wind. So Canada, I like what they're doing here. He's going to sail more distance, probably a couple more manoeuvres. But when they manoeuvre on the boundary, Canada's going to have right of way and Spain are going to have to keep clear, and then Blackpool's going to have to keep clear of there. So this is all on.
25 to boundary.
So two-time Olympic gold medalist Giles Scott rolls the dice here and comes up with a strategy. He should pick up the pressure first. Look at this. And it starts to build. It's staying right at 10 kilometers an hour, but it's 2 kilometers faster. Meanwhile, the champion's almost out of their wetsuits, and they're getting ready to celebrate, and the racing's still on for second.
Oh, they'll love that. All on the Kiwis to keep clear here.
This is the umpires. Penalty New Zealand, not giving room at the boundary, go behind Spain.
Yeah, I think he was a little bit. That's really going to hurt them. Pete won't like that. He'll say, oh, I did everything I could, but I think he could have seen that a little earlier. He's got to drop behind the Spanish. They got come off already. He's technically behind them. I mean, this is classic, isn't it? It's an absolute drift off across the finish line.
I did mention we went 107 this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So Canada will hold on for second place here at Sassnitz at the ROCKWOOL Germany Sail Grand Prix, and that means that Spain will grab third, New Zealand will take fourth.
That was hilarious.
Oh, who's going to get us third? The black foil's there first.
But they got a penalty still.
No, because they did drop behind them. They only had to drop behind, and it's a subjective distance thing.
Okay,
so
we'll see what happens.
They will have officially gone behind because the penalty came off.
While they're still racing, the green and gold, the Bonds Flying Roos are already on land as they make their way towards the trophy presentation. What a great moment this will be. Again, they have not won since New York City. It'll be good to be back on the stand for Tom Slingsby and his team.